Greetings, warriors. I am Princess Ethelfleda. I laid the foundations of Warwick Castle over 1,000 years ago, in the year 914.
William the Conqueror. He built the first castle at Warwick.
And together they led Warwick Castle into an era of extravagant society parties.
The next 200 years saw the castle undergo huge transformations. It was at the heart of several wars, and many knights, like me, passed through its gates.
I, Richard Neville, Earl of Warwick, also known as the Kingmaker, control the succession of the crown.
Hello and welcome to another vlog here at Warwick Castle. My name is Axel.
I'm Sean.
And we are going to be walking around Warwick Castle and seeing everything that it has to offer. Now, I have seen quite a few vlogs from this castle, but I don't really know the history about it. So let's go inside and let's find out the history of Warwick Castle.
Warwick Castle is a medieval castle developed from a wooden fort, originally built by William the Conqueror during 1068. Warwick is the county town of Warwickshire, England, situated on a meander of the River Avon. The original wooden Motte and Bailey castle was rebuilt in stone during the 12th century. During the 100 Years' War, the facade opposite the town was refortified, resulting in one of the most recognisable examples of 14th century military architecture. It was used as a stronghold until the early 17th century, when it was granted to Sir Greville by James I in 1604. Greville converted it to a country house, and it was owned by the Greville family, who became Earls of Warwick in 1759. This was until 1978, when it was bought by the Two Sword Group, which went on to merge with Merlin Entertainments. Merlin continues to operate the site under a renewable 35-year lease.
Already from the outside, you can see the size is massive. It's the biggest castle I've ever been to. Here is the entrance. And here we are in the main area. Over here they do have their own dungeons, the castle dungeons. From what I understand, this attraction is an upcharge, but if you are a Merlin pass holder, then you do get a discount on it. So we'll see how much that costs later and see if we were to brave the castle dungeon. Enter here, all ye sinners. So after heading inside the castle, we are now going to explore the Great Hall. Follow us inside and let's see what it's all about. Just look at this room. It's absolutely amazing. So grand, so epic. And I was just actually reading that in 1604 Warwick Castle was granted to Sir Fulk Greville by King James I. And at the time when it was granted to him, the castle was in disrepair, and he spent £20,000, which is roughly £8 million today, restoring the castle, including this very room, the Great Hall, and its staterooms as well. Basically, the foundations of the Great Hall date back to the 14th century, but over the centuries it has undergone many changes, and the Great Hall today dates to 1875 because it had a fire in the castle in 1871, and it's now been built as like a romanticised view of the medieval period. It was and still is used to host grand parties, and in this room it shows off the collection of the Earls of Warwick,
And obviously this room is the first room that many guests would and does see. So obviously it has to convey like a sense of power and grandeur, and it certainly does both of them things. I mean, just look at it.
Because the English are rubbish at making armour. To get the very best examples, you have to go travelling to Italy and Germany. Now, at one point, the Greville family had one of the most significant privately owned collections of arms and armour in the world. Due to the debts and the taxes, they had to start selling it off. So this is only a third of the family's original collection. Now with armour, there are four main questions. Is it heavy? Is it expensive? Can you see out of your helmet? And can you walk around while you're wearing it? Now battle armour like this, on average, weighs 25 kilograms. But it's not like wearing a backpack full of bricks. All of that weight is evenly distributed over your entire body, so you don't feel the weight that bad. There is a Hollywood myth. People think, because of movies and TV shows, if a knight is pushed from his horse, he's going to be stranded on his back like an upside-down turtle. It's completely false. Armour like this is brilliant, but it's very expensive. Good quality plate armour, in today's money, would cost you £100,000. But not everyone has £100,000. Only 1% of an army are going to be dressed like this. The king, the princes, the knights, the people who live inside their castles, like the Earls of Warwick. The arrows cannot get through armour like that. But there is a cheaper version of armour. Most people would call it chainmail, a sword, a dagger, or an axe. Any kind of large blade will slide off the surface. But arrows, like these two, can quite easily go through the gaps. They can't get through plate armour. And armour like this is brilliant because it has overlapping components even on the inside of the joints. Plate armour has to be tailor-made. Every single joint will match the owner's body perfectly. This has been designed to be arrow-proof, but they did design an arrow that can get through this. You have a war arrow, slightly thicker, slightly heavier. This can actually get through plate armour at a close enough range. And because it's tailor-made, most medieval knights are buried in their armour. But there is another reason for wearing your armour. You can wear it to battle, or you can wear it for sport, like jousting. Now this is where we get the misconception that armour is slow and clunky, because this weighs nearly twice as much as your battle harness. You're looking at around 45 to 50 kilograms, and you don't need to walk around in your jousting armour. All you have to do is stay on your horse. And the oldest one is this one with the greatsword. He dates back to 1510. He comes from Germany, and he is known as Maximilian Armour, designed by the Holy Roman Emperor, Lord Maximilian. Henry VIII went to Germany. He bought armour exactly like this, and he was horrified to discover when he came home that everyone else had the same idea. All the knights looked pretty much identical. This will not do. The king has to stand out. So Maximilian gave Henry VIII a gift. This helmet, known as a grotesque, because that's exactly what it is. This is the helmet today in the Leeds Armoury. The Victorians added the curly devil horns and the steampunk glasses. But originally, it was a grotesque face with huge teeth. I don't know if this was based on Maximilian himself or one of his favourite servants. But either way, Henry VIII stands out at a party. The armour isn't quite as flashy as it once was. Sometimes Milanese or Italian armour would look like this, gilded in gold leaf. Once again, the Victorians didn't know what they were doing. To try and clean their armour, they took wire wool to scrape away the rust, and they scratched away all of the gold leaf.
This is a collection of pistols, gun locks and powder flasks across 350 years old. These, most of them would have been carried by cavalry officers in holsters attached to their saddles. These guns right here are called hand mortars, and they were used to fire iron grenades towards an enemy. They were used in the late 17th century and are the predecessor of the modern day grenade launcher. Throughout the entire Tudor era of 1485 to 1603, only 2 of the Tudor monarchs would pay Warwick Castle a visit. The first was Henry VIII, who would visit the castle twice in his entire reign. The second Tudor monarch to visit was Queen Elizabeth I, and she would visit in 1566 and again in 1572.
Clara Butt.
Who frequently invited each other to their residences to enjoy long weekends.
There she is.
Dining and frivolity.
Absolutely massive. Isn't she, Axel?
She was very tall.
Huge.
She had a really powerful singing voice.
Yeah.
Imagine her coming at you singing, I'd be scared.
With over 400 guests, the carnival was a much larger affair than the royal weekend party, and named after his massive number, was frequently associated with the scandal. It consisted of various high-profile members. House said the social group primarily linked to the Prince of Wales and named after his joy. Data was renowned for her role as a hostess, and at the 1895 Powder Ball, guests were encouraged to dress in the style of the French court.
Looks very suspicious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's like, you're not going to believe the hand I've got. Go fish.
To join the action.
Look at that. A young Winston Churchill.
And saw active service between 1950 and 1960. He sustained
There he
injuries
is.
during the battle.
And William the Conqueror, who established a castle here in 1068. In the medieval period, King Edward IV was held prisoner in Caesar's Tower for a few days during the War of the Roses.
Here's the exit.
So we've just done the Great Hall and the Princess Castle
Yep.
Tower, Princess Tower.
Yep.
What are you thinking, Sean?
I love castles. It's a bit like, I feel like I'm walking around like a Hogwarts.
It does feel like a real life Hogwarts.
Yeah.
To be honest, I love how much
You can go in.
you can go in, you can
Yeah.
explore, and of how much of it feels or is
Like,
like
still
authentic.
preserved,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's preserved and it's authentic, which I absolutely love. It's so informative as well, and
Well
that
worth the drive.
thing that he did, that talk that the guy did,
Yeah.
was so well done. He knew his stuff. I expected it to be big, but I didn't expect it to be filled with as much.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the rooms to be so full, and it feels very alive. The castle feels very alive, it really does.
When you're walking around, there's loads of like little audios playing that tell you about the individual rooms and stuff like that. And you know, I'm not a massive history buff, and it's not something I'd like to do every weekend, but it's something to do, and it's like really interesting, to be honest. But you can't help itself when it's seeing the peacocks. It's just wanted to go for them.
And we enter Time Tower. Good old turnstile.
Greetings, warriors. I am Princess Ethelfleda. I laid the foundations of Warwick Castle over 1,000 years ago, in the year 914. There was a great battle between us, the Anglo-Saxons in the south, and in the north, the Vikings.
The next 200 years saw the castle undergo huge transformations. It was at the heart of several wars, and many knights, like me, passed through its gates.
The last 200 years saw the transformation of the castle into the imposing stronghold you've seen before you. During the Wars of the Roses, Warwick was a seat of power for one reason. Me. I, Richard Neville, Earl of Warwick, also known as the Kingmaker, controlled the succession of the crown. After my time, at the end of the war, the Tudors left Warwick to ruin. The towers collapsed and the walls crumbled.
Post-Civil War England was a very different place. The next generation of Grevilles, including myself, Francis Greville, converted the castle into a grand, stately home. Doesn't it look splendid?
Ethelfleda, she was an iconic female warrior, and without her, we probably wouldn't be here today. Above her is William the Conqueror. He built the first castle at Warwick when he ruled.
So we've just come out of the Time Tower, which essentially was a series of multimedia installations, 3 of them, that gave you a brief history of owners and some facts about Warwick Castle.
Yeah.
Including that Queen Victoria visited the castle, William the Conqueror built the first part of the castle, the Grevilles that owned it in the later years,
just
and a
loads
few
of
other
stuff really.
bits
Just
and
like
bobs in there.
this used to be the place where they used to change the king, like the kings. It was called the Kingmaker because you used to come here to be like crowned, didn't you, and stuff like that, or something. Yeah, it was very interesting.
I liked it. It was short, it was snappy.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was in 3 different rooms. It's a small part of the castle that it does take up, and I like how it's an original part that they've added installations to and like modernised it while keeping.
They use a lot of the castle really well. So like especially all this part here.
Yeah.
Like it's all accessible to the public. There's bits over there, which I'm assuming for health and safety reasons you can't use, but most of the castle you can walk around and it's really quite interactive. The only thing I would say is in there it was a little bit cheesy. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course. It was like horrible history's style of thing. But saying that, they have got horrible history's maze as well, which we'll have a brief look at later on.
So Warwick Castle has 2 massive towers known as Gatehouse and Barbican.
Deville, Warwick Towers and Ramparts Trail.
There we go.
Please mind your head.
Got another trail. Oh, all right.
Look at that, Sean fits right in. Duck. Wait. Whoa. This is a bit scary.
Back in the day, innit? Right, so we might have to stop recording it. It's impossible to get back in.
This is very steep. It's very short steps. You do have to be careful walking up here. It's worth it to come up here. I'll tell you now. Look at them stairs. Dangerous. Guy's Tower, 1395. Let's enter. More steps and another very small stone doorway.
That'll be alright.
Yeah, sure, it'll be alright.
Only little.
Still going. Climbing up these stairs about a minute. We're approaching the top.
Wait. Oh, God, here we go.
There's a little wooden door at the top. Here we are.
Wow.
The towers and battlements consist of a series of defences, including crenellations, arrow loops and murder holes. And despite the primarily defensive role of the medieval castle, the towers were largely used for domestic purposes. Guy's Tower was used to accommodate important visitors of the Earls of Warwick, and the higher up your status, the higher up in the tower that you would stay.
I know that these buildings have been standing for hundreds of years, and they will be standing for hundreds more to come. But for some reason, I feel more safe on a roller coaster that's built within the last 10 years. Don't know why that is. I feel so uneasy at the top of this for some strange reason.
I think you just throw
Weird.
yourself over. Look,
Weird.
there's nothing stopping you.
Yeah, probably because I'm the one that's in control. So we're on our way down the tower, and halfway there's a stop here with a display in the middle.
11th Earl of Warwick, known his opponents as the Civil Warwick, are ready to pit the armies of England against the might of the French king. The English have marched from Normandy and the French countryside, burning, captured.
Please leave the dog alone. It's a doghouse built into the castle.
That's where the Duke could sleep if he said something wrong.
No,
In the
but
doghouse.
seriously, that is amazing. And so now we're down here in the gardens of the castle, ready for the Birds of Prey live demonstration. Yeah, so the little Birds of Prey show there, I want to talk about that because
amazing.
Yeah, it was all good, nice, fun while the owl was out and while the falcon was out.
Yeah.
And then they bring out them two other birds that are just erratically flying up right close to you while the guy's throwing chicken legs above your head, and that's where it becomes scary and that's where it starts to traumatise you. And no, that's not for me, thank you very much.
So it's well good.
No,
Axel's terrified of birds, so
didn't like it whatsoever.
biased.
Didn't like it. I would watch it from a distance.
You did?
they were coming above my head. The guy couldn't throw. The guy couldn't throw straight, and they were throwing them the chicken legs above our heads, near enough.
What was it? The falcon came closer to us than the other two did. The falcon flew right above your head the first time it came back.
Yeah, and then I knew this was a bad idea. And here we go for the next part of the castle. The Kingmaker experience. Let's have a go at this way.
24th of March.
1471.
Whoa. Don't know what's happening there. I was getting his armour fitted. No, it moves. Is that a real horse?
Fourth, we move.
You could live in any era of English history, when would it be? Be any title you want. Very dingy this place, isn't it? Stumbled. I really liked the Great Hall with all the armour. I loved it. I love like medieval times and stuff like that. Like I said, I've never watched my history, but I just think this is really cool.
And then I really liked learning about the different types of armour, to be honest. Oh, there's three main ones. There's battle armour, there's show armour, and there's competitive armour. I really like learning about them. And I never knew that the aim of jousting was not to kill or get the other guy. I thought you had to get him and knock him off. Well, no, the aim is actually to hit the shield. Never knew that. Throughout the day, they do have free public tours here. We did see the one earlier at 11:30, yeah, the Armour tour. But they do have a few other ones as well. The Ultimate Castle tour, the Grisly Deaths and Executions, and exploring the castle. I would have liked to see that Grisly Deaths and Executions, but instead we was at that bloody bird show.
Hey, it was well good. And to be fair, if it's not done by Mark, I don't want to watch it. Mark's my guy.
Legend.
Yeah,
Absolute
exactly.
Legend. Just a quick mention as well of the castle dungeons. It is £10 per person, or per peasant as it fancily says there, or £5 for Merlin annual pass holders, which isn't too bad actually. I would have done that, but by the time we're getting to this, it's 3:30. The whole thing closes at 4 and the castle dungeon is already closed, unfortunately. So, something to come back for, I guess. Horrible Histories maze. Get lost in time.
It's going to be amazing. Right.
Pick up your time passport here.
Go on, I'll get one.
What have we got to do?
Stamp it in each time zone.
Which way do you want to go first?
Let's go through the First World War.
Frightful First World War.
Oh! Lost. Oh, look! This is definitely meant for adults, this.
I'm literally too big for it.
You're not.
Oh my god. I don't want to bang my head. First World War.
There we are.
Stamp. Press it in hard.
There it is.
That's amazing. Terrifying Tudors.
Not sure what that's meant to be.
Fire here. Val Victorians.
Gordon. That's a rat wearing a Tudor hat.
Next.
There's a bicycle. We're lost. For this is a well good place, you know.
This is the bonfire, Sean. We're in the middle of it. This is witchcraft.
Where are you, Axel?
Yeah.
Oh look. King of the castle, king of the castle. That came out alright, didn't it?
Well, flour is almost as explosive as gunpowder.
Really?
Apparently so. No, he's taller.
I think because of his hat.
One of these. I'm through. It's the vicious Vikings now.
That's right.
Stamp it, stamp it, stamp it.
Now we're looking for the storm in Norman.
Yeah. Well, what's the other two stamps we need?
Messy Middle Ages. Or when I'm cleaning windows.
Tudors?
Yeah.
We've been this way.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. We've got one more left. One more.
Messy Middle Ages.
Storming Normans. Come on, let's stamp it. That one's got another one there.
Yeah, that's that one because you had to fold it.
This again, here we go. Here we go. Oh. Right, this has come to serious business now.
I think their parents just stamped the last one twice and said, "Got 'em."
Is it over there? Found it!
You found it?
Found it, found it.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
Messy Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Yes. Stamp it, stamp it, stamp it, stamp it. Ugh. Yes. He's proud of it. All 7.
You better work. That's it, all the grown-ups.
Kids exit, let's do it. So what do you think about the horrible Histories maze?
Good way to end the day, a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Got a bit carried away with myself getting all the stamps, but what are they there for?
I think you enjoyed that bit more than anything else.
I just wish that we had a couple more hours here. I wanted to walk around the whole ground.
Yeah.
It's epic.
Would like to do some of the things again, but I suppose that's why we can come back another day.
Yeah, come back in the summer. It's definitely something you want to do in the summer. It's a bit cold today. Even without the jousting. And there's a couple of other things that aren't on that are coming later on in the year. It's been really good. I thought I had a great day today.
Yeah.
And you know, I love castles. They're epic.
Yeah, it's really good. This is a proper castle. There is no denying that.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not like the time we went to we went to the Peak District once, yeah, and we were like, we basically, I bought Axel like this train thing. Check out our train vlog, and there was this like heritage castle, and I was like, oh, let's go visit that. That'll be cool. Get there, and it's literally just like nothing is there. It's nothing there. It's that there used to be a castle here, and when we got there, it was like, imagine a castle this tall, and it's like, why is it saying imagine so much? And we walked up the stairs and there was nothing, and we were like, oh, that's why it's saying imagine, because this little well here is all that's left of the castle. It was shocking.
Yeah.
So
this is the complete polar opposite to that.
This is like
full on castle. Anyway, it's been a good day. So from me, Axel,
and me, Sean,
this brings this vlog to a close, and we'll see you in another video.
Bye.
Goodbye.